Hi, and welcome to Three Things. Our guest is the motherfucking director of marketing over at Goose Beer Company. He was the driving force behind making an actual island right next to Section 108 on the south side. He was willing to risk the company name on three fat guys in a hot tub, even after hearing we drank Bader Brow out of business. He is the Brew King. He is a South Sider. He is TJ Annerino. Welcome, TJ. How are you doing?
Annerino.
Annerino.
I can't believe he asked to make sure it was correct and then fucked it up right out of the gate. Beautiful.
Annerino. Good. I tried.
It was a good try.
No, it wasn't. It was a horrible try. I mean, listen, my fuck ups have become like things of legends on our podcast. So it's not something that goes unnoticed by these two guys. I get a lot of notes, and it's one of the biggest notes is, hey, stop fucking shit up, please. It's funny sometimes, but not all the time.
I wish I had like drops that I could play so that I could just like always use the Samuel L. Jackson from Pulp Fiction and just be like, English motherfucker, do you speak it? Like I'd be pressing that the entire time.
TJ, I think that my Sox Summer is giving you a false appearance of how we treat him. He's super entertaining and he's super good at doing this stuff, but he occasionally has linguistic troubles. And when he has them, it's our only opportunity to bust his balls, so we got to go for it. You know, it's not in bad spirits. We all love each other. We just got to give it to him a little bit when he fucks the things up.
I get it.
So, TJ, you look like you're very comfortable outside, smoking a spliff, drinking a Goose Island White Sox Golden Ale, which is delicious.
Yep.
We love it. It is probably one of my favorite beers that's White Sox related. That's definitely the number one beer. I have a question for you. Yep. And as a company that has, last year you took the big plunge. You're the official craft beer of the Chicago White Sox. You created a beer for the Chicago White Sox. How much does this entire thing suck for you guys when you finally have like jumped in feet first into the White Sox craziness? We're supposed to have a good season. You guys put some stuff out there. Give us your thoughts.
Well, it's a bummer, you know, and just to a correction, and I always like to tell people this. We made a beer with the White Sox, not for the White Sox. Because there's a lot of we've done them ourselves too. We've done beers that it's very easy to get a partner to sign off on using their name or their logo or their likeness or the person's face or whatever. But that was a truly collaborative process. We went down to the stadium and sat there with a few people in the front office and drank beers at a conference room table. I'm sure you guys have been at that conference room table at some point.
With you.
Yeah, actually with me. That's right. You know, and I don't want to get too into certain things throughout this conversation, but it's very sentimental for me being a Sox fan, growing up a Sox fan, going to the park, you know, the old Comiskey, the new Comiskey, and sitting down the hallway from Jerry's office, drinking beers in the front office. And it's like my job, which is like totally fucked up when I step back and think about it. But yeah, so it's a special thing. But we chose a flavor profile that they liked collaboratively, and then we brewed a trial of that and brought a 6-barrel and literally stood on the warning track, and the front office folks came down and drank little samples of it with our brewmaster. We worked collectively on the name, really simple name, but yeah, with the Sox. I like to make that correction because it's very important that we didn't just, you know, slap a logo on a can and you know.
I didn't mean to short sell it.
Not at all.
The one thing though, I wish that it would have been different. I don't know if these even exist, but I wish it would have been a silver ale because that's the color of the World Series trophy. I think, you know, that would have been the best. Like, and I don't even know if silver ale exists. You know, so I don't know.
Could have just
Why
made it up.
didn't you make up a brand new kind of beer that doesn't exist for this? I
For
mean,
me.
why not?
Just for Jake. Okay, yeah. Well, let
Just
me
for
get on that.
me. So yeah, and that is I cut that out of the intro for you. I wanted to be I wanted to ask the question too, like, what was your first initial thoughts when you guys ran into this? Because with our good buddy Brooks Boyer, or all our good buddy Brooks Boyer, introducing us together, and like I know the first time we saw him, we talked with Brooks. Brooks was like, "You need to meet with the Goose Island guys because these guys are just like you. They dress like you, they look like you, blah blah blah." And then when we saw you, I was like, "These guys are in shape. They're like better looking. They're not fat. They don't even look like they drink beer." And what the fuck? I mean, what was your initial like takeaway from the meeting with the 108 guys?
It's funny because Brooks said the exact same thing, and I knew about you guys via Twitter and shit. But I think there's certain partners of major league teams or whoever that are very by the book, very corporate. And I went in there and just kind of pushed the envelope a little bit with Brooks. And I think he was like, "This guy's fucking an idiot. He's awesome. He's just like the other 108 guys. They got to meet." And he said the exact same thing. He said, "You got to meet these 108 guys. We'll get you guys a meeting together. Maybe you could do something." They're, they sit right next to the Goose Island at the park, and yeah, love it first.
That's awesome. No, that was so much fun, and I just we thank you and thank Goose too for the involvement and just even allowing us to say your name when we're doing shit. So that's been really awesome.
Oh, we're honored.
I don't know what happened to Beefloaf, but he is just maybe he'll dial back in at some point.
Trying to join back, but it's not happening. So I think you can just go to the next question.
Yes.
Well, let me answer that first question because I kind of diverted and take blame for that, but it was a huge bummer. For your original question. We've never done anything this big ever. We've never worked with a partner this big. I mean, we've done music festivals and street festivals, and but to work with a major league baseball team, it's still kind of crazy to think about it. And it couldn't have been more exciting. I mean, my wife and I were in Las Vegas a couple years ago, and it was like, the Sox were like 200-1 or something like that. And we were there last year. We went to go see Willie Nelson and Lady Gaga in the same. Super weird, but they were like 18-1 or something like that. It was like some crazy 20-1. I don't know what it was. And I was like, holy shit, this is going to be good. Like, this is going to be really good. And, there was that little couple of weeks where they just started signing guys, and it was like, oh fuck yeah, they are not fucking around anymore. Like, this is real shit. Because when they signed Kopech, and I follow as much as I can, but that was an exciting sign. And they like sold out the stadium when the guy pitched his first game, and then it felt like, okay, they're like, nothing really crazy happened. And then like I said, that couple of weeks, it was just like bam, 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 bam. And last
November,
December. It was like,
because the Encarnacion was like one of the last ones, and it was like right at Christmas.
It was Christmas Day.
Yeah.
It was Christmas Day.
Yeah. So going into going into the convention was like, or Sox Fest was just like,
yep.
Oh my God, this is amazing. And just like seeing these guys, I'm like, this is the team, man. These guys are like here to kick some ass. I don't want to say finally, because it was only 15 years ago that they were also kicking ass, but you know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, it was just like, oh God, this is the year. And we got this build out thing in the stadium. We got a partnership with the team. We got this beer. I don't know if you guys saw it, but we did like a special schedule can that was supposed to be exclusive to the stadium for like, I think we only did like 100 or 200 cases or something like that. It was a very low number, but it didn't happen. So
We'll take those.
I'll bring you guys.
I will come pick those up because we don't want those to go to waste. So
oh no, they won't. You almost feel like
definitely come pick those up.
it's kind of weird because, maybe this is just the romantic in me, but I'm like, maybe those will become like collector's items or something. Like the season that never was printed for the first time in Major League Sports on a beer can where you could, pull it off. So, but yeah,
those are definitely going to be collector's items.
Yes, they are
for sure.
They probably already are. Like,
I'll bring you guys some.
That would be excellent. We will drink them.
Here's the coolest part of that beer. Okay. The can is very cool, and it's label technology that kind of, there's no better way to explain it, but it's like a pill bottle where it's a semi-adhesive where you peel it off and it just sticks right back. So you peeled it off and the schedule's on the back. And we were talking to the team and we're like, people are going to want to leave with these, like, and they're like, no, there's no way we're letting them leave with the cans out of the stadium. It's just a security issue. We asked the White Sox to ask their security team if they would make the exception for those cans, and they did. So you were going to be able to either have to chug it or dump it out and make sure it was empty in front of a security guard so you could walk out with it. But so it kind of sucks, but the whole thing sucks, but it's out of anyone's control. And, it does really piss me off. Those like the year that they were going to come out of the gate and beat the hell out of some teams. It was like, what are you going to do?
Well, TJ, if they wouldn't have let you have let people walk out with those cans, you could have just reached out to me. I could have taught a master class online about how to leave the stadium with beers.
Yeah.
I'm a couple times for extra innings, and sometimes I gotta take something for the walk home. But
that class is actually up on Khan Academy. It's in there. It's Teresa teaching how to hide a beer to get it out of the ball.
Oh yeah, Jacob. I don't know. I can't even remember what your second question was, but
well, we're not there yet. The second question. The second thing for three things is a question that you can propose to the group.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you asked me another question.
You can ask. The floor is yours, TJ. Ask us anything you would like to know.
Oh man.
Or discuss. We can discuss anything.
I'd like to discuss baseball overall in Chicago. We're one of 3 cities that have 2 teams. And I don't know, I grew up on one side of the city and other people grew up on the other side. And I find it really interesting how that dynamic literally divides households, it divides workplaces, it divides friendships. But it's like, it's so pure. Even when you go to that game where they play each other, I think it was supposed to be July 7th or 8th this year or whatever. It's like, it feels like, I've seen fights in the stands and all that shit, but like, it feels like people kind of like put it away for a minute and just, kind of celebrate that we're all from Chicago and we all like fucking hate New York and LA. And it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I want to know what your guys' take. I'm not saying like, do you think the Cubs suck? Talk shit about the Cubs or anything like that. I'm talking about like, I think we have something beautiful in Chicago that we have 2 teams that are truly night and day when it comes to the experience of the stadium experience when you go to a game. And people gravitate towards being in a super confined concourse in a stadium that is one way, or being in a super comfortable stadium where you can tailgate and eat really good food and drink good beer and watch
Very
the
good
team.
beer.
So I don't know. I'll stop talking. I want to know what you guys think of that split.
Loaf, you want to go first?
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up the workplace angle, because when the White Sox were winning a World Series, I had just changed jobs and I moved on to and even through that spurt from 2005, maybe let's say through 2010-ish, I had moved companies. I worked for a small CPA firm. Then I moved over to a real estate investment trust. Our company probably had 400 people in it. There were probably 8 White Sox fans. I shit you not. It was basically everyone was Cubs fans, either locally or transplants. So as White Sox fans, I think I said this on Herb Lawrence's Locked On Sox podcast, we're almost punk rock. We're like a little bit like we're rooting for the thing that people are kind of barely know exists, but they kind of know it is, and then like you're a little bit avant-garde as a Sox fan. You know, it's a little bit of a different thing. And like if you walk downtown and you got the Sox hat on, or if you got the 108 hat on, or whatever hat that signifies, you got Goose stuff, it signifies Sox. And you get the little head nod from the other person. They're like, "Oh yeah, you're part of this club right here. You're part of the group here." And it's no shade against Wrigley Field or anything. I like Wrigley Field. I've been to plenty of games at Wrigley Field. It's a fine experience. I like the ballpark, all that stuff. There's just something that hits different about being a Sox fan. It's just like, you know, it's like going to that little club where you know that good band's gonna play and no one knows about them yet.
Yeah,
that's kind of what we are.
That's such a great way to put it. It is like a grit that you have, like, you know, the Cubs fans just don't seem to have. I don't know. Again, I don't want to be talking any shit, but I'm treading super lightly here.
Fuck them.
But there is a difference.
Well, it's not all Cubs fans, though. You're right, TJ. It's a little bit more the populous Cubs fans. There are Cubs fans who are sitting out there in the shitty weather watching those terrible rebuilding teams and really fucking earned or sitting in front of their TV and watching endless fucking bad games in 2013 or wherever the fuck that have kind of earned all this shit, you know, but it's not everybody. And when the Sox side of the ledger, there's a lot more of those people that have been like hung on and stayed with this thing and been watching it, and it just feels like now that it's coming through, it just feels like, oh, yes, you know, our people. And you see the community at the ballpark when you see them. Lots of people know each other at the ballpark. You see the community on Twitter. You know, we're obviously all part of it. And like, you recognize that. It's just like it's like a badge of honor almost.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like I always kind of had the feeling of like one feels like a national team and the other one feels like a neighborhood team.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I mean, they're both neighborhood teams. Obviously, people live right there, but like one just feels very real and very gritty and very raw. And that's very attractive, you know, to me personally and to, I think, all Sox fans. And that's like, you know, we're 35 blocks south of the midpoint of the city. They're 36 blocks north. And if you're standing at State and Madison, people are like, 35th and what? Like, what is that, Indiana? That's, you know, but it's the same fucking distance. And it's like, it's like a different experience, you know.
You're right. They're like, that's a bad neighborhood. There's like $5 million homes, like a stone's throw from the ballpark. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I wish it was a bad neighborhood. My mortgage would be a hell of a lot lower.
But I think that's like, as Chicagoans in general, right? I think we tend to kind of have a chip on our shoulder, you know, because we are the second city, right? Like New York is like everyone, oh shit, you want to go to the best restaurants, you want to go to the best this, you want to go to the best that, it's all in New York. And so we definitely have like this chip on our shoulder as the second city, right? Yeah. But then you double down on that because now it's a group within that group that people are talking shit to, and it's all the same tired ass jokes, right? And so when you're getting hit with these same tired ass jokes, and then the guy next to you is in the same boat, you start to band together. And like, that's, I think what part of it is. Like, you think about like when you see people meet each other that are both Cubs fans, it's like, it's expected, right? But when you meet someone who's a White Sox fan, you're like, you got this new connection because it's like a brother in arms of like, like we've both dealt with this shit. We've both heard about how our stadium is fucking empty and no one gives a shit. And like, this team's always going to be terrible and you won't spend any money and blah, 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 all the same shit over and over again. You've heard it. And now this person has too, and they know where you're coming from.
Yep.
And you stick together. And so you go to a Sox game, everyone is like dying to talk to each other about the Sox. That's why the Twitter community of White Sox is so good and so tight. Like the Mets have the same thing. Like you see like Mets Twitter is fucking nuts, right? You look at, I mean, like Bill's Mafia is a good example of it too, right? Because like they're from New York, but they're not really from New York, right?
Yeah.
And they're from shitty Toronto. Like they have it from all sides too, right? So like they have the same kind of deal where they're sticking together because like everyone thinks they're bullshit. And so that's kind of, you know, you get that feeling as a Sox fan, and then it's just all the more joyous when you win. When you do something, when you show people and you could say fuck off, like it
was fun to say fuck off when we were a worse team. It always has been fun.
Yeah.
That's true.
That 10 years from 2005 to 2015 was like glory days of just ultimate fuck off. And then they got their own and whatever. It was all good. But, you know, it is really different because I love going to the stadium and seeing guys I went to grade school with, high school with, seeing cousins, you know, seeing people from the neighborhood, my neighborhood. I live down far south, Evergreen Park now, but I don't know. I've been to Cubs games too. Cubs games are just fine, but it's like tourists that like don't know where the hell they are, trying to find their way in the gate. And like, I'm from Cincinnati. We came to see Wrigley, and it's like, go see it. There's another stadium here too, and it's you're gonna have a lot of fun there, you know. But it's almost kind of like, you know, the other side of me, and I probably shouldn't say this, but the other side of me is like, don't ever come to Comiskey. Don't, like, leave me alone. Let us have what we have and let it be pure. You know what I mean? And it's always going to be that thing. But
see, that's the punk rock thing about it.
Yeah.
Don't go to the fireside and see this band because I want to see that band, and I don't need you there to keep me out of that show. There's only 8 tickets to this show. Like,
yeah, that's such a good analogy. Fireside bowl. That's so good.
Sox Park, it's just the biggest. It's like the biggest neighborhood bar there is possible. That's where you're getting, like, you see people that you went to grade school with and stuff. That's originally how the 108 concept evolved, because friends and family and stuff would come and congregate by us and hang out when there's no one in the ballpark, but we'd all get together there and eat together and talk about it. And it's just like the whole ballpark has that feel. We just got lucky that our section had that feel particularly for us.
Yeah.
And you guys all grew up in the neighborhood, and I think my only like different perspective is because I wasn't there. I was out in the sticks, out by Iowa, according to some people. Maybe, you know, DeKalb, some other people, maybe Dixon, Illinois, if people know who that is. But everyone was a Cubs fan, and my dad was a Sox fan because when my dad was young, the Sox were good, so he was a Sox fan. My grandfather was friends with a sports writer. My dad used to come into Old Comiskey and got to meet a lot of people, and that was how that started. And then you had, when I was born in '77, you had the Southside Hitmen, and that was something that carried on. And like some of my youngest pictures are me with a Sox hat. And I don't think it clicked, like that there was a law, like you had to be one or the other, until I was in college. And a buddy was like, no, you can't be a fan of Chicago. You have to pick what side you want to be on. You can't be a Cubs and a Sox fan. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? All right, fuck it then. I'm a Sox fan. Like, fuck all you Cubs people. And this was like when Kerry Wood, like, threw, like, you know, the 20 strikeout game. I remember watching that with my roommates in college and going, this is fucking amazing. And then I was also asking questions like, why is this amazing? And they're like, because it's only been done in history like 3 times, you know, or what? And it's been done more than that. And I'm sure I'm going to get lambasted for that. But it was like, it was something that was very important at that point. And it was just fun to watch a guy like deal like that. So that got me, that was part of getting into baseball, and then watching Pryor and Wood and Schilling and Randy Johnson when I was out in Arizona in 2000, 2001, when those guys were just dealing. Like, it was, that was like how I got in, you know, that's what drew me in closer to baseball. And then when 2005 went down, I mean, after that, I mean, shit. I mean, it was over. Like, I got to go see the Sox out in California all the time when we over in Anaheim. And one thing that, you know, I saw when I was out there, like, people would say, "Oh, you're from Chicago," and I said yes, and they would be like, "Oh, you're a Cubs fan," and I'd be like, "No, I'm a Sox fan." They're like, "What? You're a Sox fan? Like, how can you be a Sox fan?" Or we would go to a Sox or a Cubs game when they were playing the Dodgers, and I would wear Sox gear. I would be that total asshole wearing Sox stuff at a Cubs, you know, Dodgers game, and people would be like, "Why are you wearing Sox gear?" I'm like, "'Cause I'm a fan of the White Sox," you know. So I mean, it was just it's very I didn't understand it as well, and now living here, it makes it even more. And I'm gonna agree with you, TJ. I used to go to bat like on Facebook, which is really bad for my health in the White Sox message boards out there. I would go out there and I would defend the Sox, and I'd be like, "Oh, listen, you don't understand. You can get in for $7. That doesn't mean you need to sit up in that upper level seat. You can go sit wherever you want." And then after a certain point, I'm like, you know what? I don't give a fuck if you come to the White Sox game anyway. Like, you stay home. Like, I'll go get my beef sandwich from Evelyn, my beef lady, out in center field. You know, I'll go and get my, you know, oh man, paper umbrellas, tropical IPA right up top. You know what it is? Because, you know, that is, I mean, that's something that is really nice. And you guys, I know you did this on purpose because you knew where all the beer was being sold in that park. So you're like, we're going to build this little rail car right next to the 108. Then we're also going to put a big old island right next to it. Like, we know what you did, TJ. It's fine.
We actually went to Brooks and we were saying what section and what rows in that section are drinking the most beer in the stadium.
But I don't need a bunch of fucking miscreants up there like drinking fucking beers and drinking all the good beer. They can go drink the like whatever else, but we want the good stuff next to us, and we have it. We can run up there. We know the people. We buy our beers. We come right the fuck back down. Yeah. Because when that shit's fresh, and I'm not kidding you, when that shit is fresh, that is some of the best fucking beer ever.
The paper umbrella, check them. Like
the paper umbrellas.
Paper umbrellas is unbelievable. The I would assume we would have gotten some of these other IPAs that have been coming out this year. And also the dry hopped 312, which is like my biggest fucking all-time favorite beer that you guys have ever made. And that stuff is just unbelievably great. And we've had our conversations about, you know, how they stock beer and everything. But like it is, you guys, I find myself thinking a lot about businesses that have invested money going into this year, not just with the Sox, but just in general. Like, I feel really horrible if somebody just threw out all this money and started a business and now they can't get anything. It's just like, it feels horrible.
Yeah.
Like thinking that like somebody just tried something and it didn't work.
Yeah.
And I know there's other businesses that are coming out of it, but it's just like, oh fuck. But that has nothing to do with the Cubs and the Sox. But fuck the Cubs, kind of. It's not really even the Cubs. I don't even really hate the Cubs so much. It's just some of the fans. But to be honest, some of the Sox fans I fucking hate too.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like the one place that you see them the most is the Cubs versus Sox series. Those are the worst fans on both sides of the Madison Mason-Dixon line. And we don't. I can't. Sometimes these guys don't even go to those games. I will go. And last year, 107, there was so many fights in 107 or 106. It was just insane. I loved it because I was totally fucking wasted. But it was not – it's not like the best side of either fan. You know, it's like the Cubs suck. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, I'm just bummed that, like, like everybody else. That we had a year. We're all season ticket holders. We've been grinding out these fucking rough years. And we finally had that year that we were going to be we're like moving forward. And you're like, fuck. It's just like God hates the fucking White Sox or some shit. I don't know. It seems totally unfair that this would happen this year. So, I don't know. On a sports perspective, I mean, there's bigger things, obviously, but this sucks in this regard. So.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it really does.
So now this is 3 things, and the third thing was going to be how much do you miss baseball? But obviously, we've talked that out. We know that you miss a lot of baseball. I'm trying to think of something like another. Music is probably very important to you too. I know you guys do a lot of beer. You did the beer with the Natural Villain, right? And that was for a band.
Yep.
What's a band in Chicago, or that you think that maybe somebody should be checking out that you haven't heard, that people haven't heard? Like, what you guys have been doing a lot of like live shows too, and posting a lot of stuff up. What's something that maybe we should be paying attention to out there?
Well, definitely, and I'm not just saying this because of the Natural Villain comment, but the band Twin Peaks, who we did Natural Villain with, like, just legit Chicago dudes. Like, very, very down to earth, real young Chicago musicians that are just doing some really cool stuff. I would highly recommend them. And anyone that runs in their circle, and they're just good people, you know, like they're really, really good people. We started working with them, at Pitchfork Music Festival. And we did this beer, a one-off beer with them, and it did really well. And they were like begging, "Oh, can we do it again? Can we do it again?" I said, "Fuck yeah, let's bring it back." Super easy drinking, you know, cold yellow beer, just a nice lager.
It's Treasy's favorite.
Yeah, I've had many of those. Believe it or not.
I started doing around with that beer where like I started putting limes in it. I did like micheladas with it. It's just like it's a good base to like, you know, and it doesn't get you too trashed. You can have a ton of them. It's a great summer beer. After working in beer, and I worked in the music business before this. It's funny you bring up music, but you know, I love that just straight up 4.5%, 5% beer that tastes like beer. You know what I mean? I love IPAs. I love the crazy stouts. I just can't do it all the time, you know? I mean, and I'm literally not drinking this just because I'm on with you guys and I'm trying to, you know, product placement bullshit. It's just like you can have 3 or 4 of them and you don't feel like you got to scrape your tongue off and you don't want to move to a different beer. You don't feel like you're wasted after a couple 15%. And we have like all those beers in our portfolio, but I just choose to go to the simple route, I guess. But the music thing, I think really quickly is like everything that has happened is really made me realize that beer is such a important part of gatherings and community and music and sports. And not that I didn't know that before, but it's really apparent when it all goes away like that, you know. We do this thing every year on March 12th, which is 3/12, called 312 Day, and it's like a bullshit holiday, fake holiday that we made up. We got the mayor a couple years ago to proclaim it as like, you know, Chicago 312 Day or some bullshit like that. But it's a real big music focus. So we do a lot of shows at small venues in Chicago, and we did it this year, and it was like the last bit of shows that happened. It was really weird. Like the next day, actually, two out of the 7 canceled, but the next day it was like, you know, I think actually at like 5:00 that day they announced like anything over 1,000 is highly recommended. You don't do it, you know, or you can't do it. Anything over 250 or whatever. But that was like the last big thing. So we've been really trying to, you know, how do we give people that experience without being jammed into a club watching your favorite band or jammed into a baseball stadium for 2 hours watching a game? It's to not have it. And you know, I'm not like, again, not just saying it because I work for the beer company, but like beer is such an essential part of like that, you know. Everyone talks about this beer pairs with this piece of fucking weird chicken and this you know, Michelin starred this and that, and it's like there ain't nothing that goes better with beer than like live music or like a fucking baseball game or a hockey game or a football game. Like you can't pair anything better than that, you know, when you get a 20-ounce beer and you're just like, I'm at a stadium watching a baseball game, and it's fucking 2:00 on a Thursday. Like,
The best feeling.
I mean, same goes for like, I have work tomorrow. It's fucking 11:30, and I'm at some club on a Tuesday watching this band. It's amazing. I'll have another one. Why not?
Right.
So it's going back to that first. It's just it's an interesting time to try to figure out how we can still be part of those experiences and how we can give those experiences. We did the tailgate at home thing. We tried to do that, which was right after all this bullshit started. And, we've been trying to think of like, we'll do these like care packages that we can put together where, you can order a 15-pack of beer and screen and we'll deliver to you. Just like you can fuck off in your backyard for a weekend, or, we'll deliver you a cigar, a nice bottle of barrel-aged stout, and some firewood, and that'll, so we're talking about things like that. How do we keep people just like not wanting to like, kill whoever they're living with, and
Right.
as positive as we can through this, because, beer is there for you when you need it, whether you're happy or when you're sad. So,
Well, if you need somebody to taste things or test out stuff, if you need to get rid of some stuff, feel free to send it our way. We also, next time you do 312 Day, we would like a heads up because I've been in the market for a bike. I would like to go down and pick up the bike. I live very close to the park. I could have been down there very quickly.
You want the clues before they go out is what you're asking me.
Yeah, no, just a text. You're just like, yo, my Sox Summer, just roll down here and there's a bike just chilling. Just go get it. And I'm like, all right, cool, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. I'm kidding. I'll go out and buy my own bike. No, and you bring up a lot of stuff, and it's I kind of, I don't know. It's. You guys have never. We pride ourselves in the 108 on being very authentic people and being very organic. And if things hadn't jived with us originally, I mean, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation. I think on both sides, and it's like we're all in the kind of the same realm. It's a fun thing. It's not necessarily we're gonna get a million followers and doing this. It's just like, hey, let's just drink some good beers and let's talk about them, and let's watch some baseball and let's talk about it. It's been a very good relationship for us, especially with you guys, and we greatly appreciate that.
Good people go with good people.
Yeah, and I hope I'm not like stepping over a line here, but I remember telling you, I'm like, listen, if I'm texting you too much, you got to tell me to shut the fuck up, and you're like, no, I like talking to you guys. I need some good people to talk to sometimes too. And I said, I appreciate that.
When you need it. I'll tell you, you haven't reached that limit yet.
So now, can we do? Now you're the last one of the night that we're doing. So I want to throw, and maybe you guys aren't ready for this, but I have several, so I can do yours. So can we throw some pitches at TJ real quick? Can we do some elevator pitches of things that we think that maybe they could do? The Goose Island could do with the 108.
Yeah,
I mean, Twin Peaks, I know you're making beers. The one thing that I see very lacking on the Goose Island side, other than the Bourbon County, is an everyday drinkable stout. We need a 108 stout beer. And that is something that we need to have a lot. And it could be a Mexican stout. It can be whatever. I don't give a shit. I need a stout that has that Goose Island logo on the side. That's not a barrel-aged something that I'm going to get really tore up on. I need a nice everyday drinking stout. I think we need to collaborate on a 108 drinking stout.
Okay.
Just think about it. Do all the good shit first. Then when you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, age something, throw us in there.
That's not out of the question at all, ever. And I'm being dead serious. The thing about making beers, and this is a real story, is we have two systems where we brew. We have a 2-barrel system, which is a pilot system where it's actually pretty amazing because brewers can just go in there. I can go in there if I sign up on the schedule and just brew whatever I want just to try it. Worst case scenario, you dump it. if it's good enough, or if we want to take it to another level, it jumps to a 50 barrel system.
Oh man.
So if you screw up a 50 barrel system, and dumping that is like not you don't want to be involved with being part of a beer that got dumped out of that system because it sucked or you fucked it up or whatever that may be. But so it's all about brewing something that you're gonna not sit on. Well, right now we're sitting on stuff because of the like the label stuff I'm talking about. We're finding ways to sell it in liquor stores, and we're doing like delivery and stuff like that, and people are liking it. But there's definitely a way to do a small batch of a beer that there's a third party in this too. It's the Chicago White Sox, and they need to say, yes, we will buy X amount of that beer, which is a domino effect where we can say, okay, we can make that beer because they're gonna buy it, and then you need people to drink that beer, which is the three of you, and so got to work like that. But it's doable. It's definitely doable, and it'd be fun. I mean, I love doing collaborations with fun people. It makes it way easier.
Listen, TJ, you don't have to advertise it. You don't have to tell anybody that you're doing it. We just would like it to have it's just like another notch on the belt, on the 108 belt. Just something to be like, listen, yes, no, we're not millionaires, but you know what? Goose Island made us a beer, and they were really thoughtful and thinking about it, and they put all sorts of good sugar and lactose and a nice Mexican chocolate, and it just tasted fucking delicious, and it was the best goddamn stout we ever fucking had.
See, I had a very different idea of how this would go. Like I
have to pee, so I'll be right back, so don't get worried that I'm gone. Okay?
All right, good night.
All right, see you later.
So and TJ, I don't know what you did in the music business, but when you make vinyl records, these companies that produce the vinyl records, they have these things where they'll be like, all right, like there's this price for black, and then the fancy colored vinyls are these things. But then because people buy colored, like the different colors, they go blue, red, whatever, there's scraps left from all of that. And they'll throw that shit all into like one pot, and then they'll be like, if you want your album from the scraps of all these other ones, it's actually cheaper than the black vinyl. That's kind of where I'm thinking. Like, all right, we've got
or what like it's got the look of all the colors and shit.
Yeah, it looks like garbage. It looks like bubble gum stuck to the bottom of a rail. Like that's kind of like the look that it ends up. It looks terrible, but it's multicolored vinyl when you buy it online. But that's kind of what I was thinking, was like, is there like, we've got this type of hop that we're gonna have to throw out pretty soon, and then this other ingredient. We got all these different things that are about to go in the garbage. We'll just mash it all together. That will be the 108 beer. That's kind of where I thought. That's where I thought it would work. Like this is the 108 trash can ale. Like that's like where my mind went. It's the life cereal, like these guys will drink anything kind of like, hand this off. That's I shoot high.
We could put in some hot tub water from the Sunday Soap, and it would go right in there.
Oh, that's totally an idea that I would take. I've had ideas like that where I've taken them to like our quality department. They're like, you're fucking serious? Like I was like, oh, can we melt the ice at a United Center and make a beer out of that water? And they're like, the ice that people like spit on, like throughout the whole season. But yeah, I like that idea. I like that idea a lot. Hot tub water.
Brooks was right. We're all the same.
You guys are gonna be the only ones drinking it, so I don't care. It's
the pH has been tested, by the way.
Yeah.
My pitch is a little different than these guys. I'm not pitching a beer, because this is more of an idea. So my thought is all of us, so the people here, significant others, pull some of your team together, TJ, and that's half the group, and then we do sort of a giveaway to the other half of the group and we do a fancy dinner at Goose Island. And we get all the beers out, get different foods and stuff and conversations, and we sort of have a question session like this, where people can ask random weird things and kind of like get into it, and really just a very conversational thing, but sort of a full-scale courses dinner with all different beers, and people get to try the bourbon counties, but they also get to try everything else that we all enjoy that Goose has to offer. I think it'll be some sort of a really cool experience. It could be a giveaway type thing, and it's something I think the Sox would be interested in partnering with. Is like, okay, well, if you attend a certain amount of games, or if you play in these competitions, or something like that,
Yeah,
there'd be a way to give away something like that. I think people would really love it.
I
That's
like
a good
that
one.
too.
Will 108 Trash Ale be featured at this dinner?
Trash barrel aged.
It'll be paired with all the food that they don't sell at each game, and that'll just all be put into a blender and sort of porridge.
Or fed at Joe Exotic's Tigers. One of the two. It's no in betweens. Got to pay for all those fucking Tigers somehow.
That's what's going to be served.
Well, now, hey, if there's anything we've learned in this 3 things after we've done 37 things, is that we need TJ on a podcast, and we need to go long form with this motherfucker, because we could chop this up for 3 hours. And 108 fans, all 12 of you that are watching this, just rest assured that we have tried to get this man on the podcast for almost 2 years.
I'm not that interesting.
Not happened yet.
Not that interesting.
I think you got a lot to say. I think our audience would really love a long form version of this.
We haven't even delved into the music industry, TJ.
I'd be happy to do that. You just figured out that like this is just a couple of these guys.
Attaboy.
And get me by a fire pit here, or get me in the right moment, and I'll talk your fucking ear off for way.
We will gladly accept that.
Yeah.
So I want to, TJ, we want to thank you very much for everything that you guys have done for us. We hope that we are selling at least a few more beers for you. Going forward, let's hit this hard sometime, and we'll chop it up for 3.5, 4 hours. We'll put it all on the internet so everyone can fucking enjoy it, and it'll just be a really fun time. So thank you, TJ Annerino, for coming on.
Got it.
3 things, and we will talk to you soon. And I hope everyone has a great day.
Absolutely, my pleasure, and love working with you guys. You guys are the shit.
Thank you, TJ.
Thanks so much, TJ. Appreciate it, brother.
See ya.